What's up, 412? If you can't tell, I do not have a mustache. I was getting ready to shoot this video, and for some strange reason, I just shaved half a mustache off, or like with a trimmer. So then I had to shave the whole thing off. Now I'm freaking out. I'm kind of going through like a 24-year-old crisis. Do I shave my beard? Do I keep my beard? I say shave my whole beard off. Sass says keep the beard, look weird for a little while, let my mustache grow back. So if you want to get involved in this, and I'm saying please get involved in this, comment below, shave your beard, keep your beard, and if you want to take it to another level, go to my Instagram and vote on my story, shave my beard, keep my beard. But that is not why I'm making this video. I'm making this video because it is week 2 of our series called Popular, and our Popular series is all about influence, and influence is the ability to have an effect on someone. And it can be, you have the ability to affect the way they think, or the way they speak, or the way they act, or you affect the choices they make. All of these things involve having influence over someone. And we're going to take a look at a story in Acts chapter 2 today. But before we get there, the story involves Peter. And a little bit about Peter is Peter didn't always make the best choices, even when he was spending his time with Jesus. He was angry sometimes. He was like scared or cowardly sometimes. And he told lies occasionally. I have a lot in common with Peter, because I don't always make the best choices. But this story is super cool because it shows that it wasn't Peter's influence. It was the influence that God gave Peter. And check this out. Jesus knew that Peter's ability to influence others wasn't about his behavior or his choices. It was about God working in him. God knew that Peter was going to do great things. God also knew Peter was going to make some bad choices sometimes. But that didn't, say, well, can't use that guy. He can't have influence. He knew that Peter was going to get it right more times than not. So, we're going to look at this, and what this story is really saying is that Peter said yes to a lot of small things that God was working in all these small things, and Peter said yes to all of them, and God gave Peter the influence he needed to lead people to Christ and to let people, to teach people and allow people to become believers. So in Acts chapter 2, verses 42 through 47, it says, all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. Excuse me. A deeper sense of awe came over all of them, and the apostles performed miraculous signs and wonders, and all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money to those who were in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. So Peter and his friends didn't just wake up with like all of this amazing, powerful influence, and they were just walking through the street and they were like, boom, 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 influence these people. No. It started with all of these small steps that it talks about in these 5 verses, that they, were all enjoying each other's company, and that they were spending time together, and they were eating together, and they were doing all these things. They were selling their property, they were sharing their possessions, they were doing whatever it took to help these people out. They all had one vision and one purpose, and it was to let people know who Jesus was and share the gospel with them. And they were taking all these steps to influence the people, and they were just small steps that probably seemed annoying and insignificant at some times, but at the bigger picture, God was using them each and every step of the way. So the result of all of those things was the start of the church. The start of the church, like, because they did all these things, the church grew every single day, and that's the big influence. God added to the church because of all the small things that Peter and his friends did. And you and I can do the same thing. We can have influence like that because if we say yes to everything, all the small things that God is telling us to do, nudging us to do, opening up these doors. If we say yes, then a little bit at a time, God's adding influence in our life. All the choices that we make, all the decisions that we're making, that God's like, hey, you should really do this. Okay, God, I'm going to do that. He said, there's a little more influence. Hey, Seth, you should do this. Okay, I'm going to do that. There's a little more influence. That's how it's working. So whenever you get presented with one of those small steps that you think, man, this is kind of annoying, do it. And then because you said yes, just like Peter said yes, you're going to get a little bit of influence. And then before you know it, there's going to be this bigger picture, this bigger influence that you have, and you'll be accomplishing what God has called you to do, because you have influence right now. God has given you influence at this moment, but he wants to continue to grow that influence. The older you get, the longer that you're talking to your friends about God, the more things that you're doing, he wants to grow your influence. So continue to say yes to all the small things, because doing big things starts with small steps. You're not just going to wake up one day and be at the top of the mountain. You're going to start at the bottom and you're going to climb your way up. It's one step at a time. And that's the same thing. God's giving you steps. We just have to say yes to him, and he's going to grow our influence. I love you guys. Let me know if I should shave my beard off. I hope this encouraged you. Have a great week.